Greetings, YouTube. Let's take a look at a monster. The Locathah. I just looked that up so I could actually pronounce it like possibly the way it actually is supposed to be pronounced. I can know as a young gamer I never pronounced that properly. These are fish people. This lean humanoid bears crested fins on its head and back. It has the wide-eyed and wide-lipped face of a fish. So in the underwater community of your classic D&D game, you had, the shark people that were bad, you had the mere folk that were good, and the Locathah, they're right smack in the middle. They're not, they're neutrals. They're not one or the other, and they're decidedly alien looking. They're much less approachable to money people than like a were person, rather than actually a mer person, because a mer person looks like a person with, a fishy lower half. But these folks decided to look like humanoid fish. So let's take a look at them. So they're CR half, so they're not particularly threatening as their base form. Neutral, medium, humanoid, aquatic, low light vision, and perception +3. Now that's kind of strange to me. They're fish and they only have low light vision. Now, it doesn't take long underwater before you encounter darkness. You very shortly, as you go down, you start to lose color until it's everything becomes very, very blurry and indistinct, and everything becomes very samey, and then you're in darkness. So low light vision seems like a weird thing to give folks that live their lives underwater. Dark vision would make a lot more sense to me. I can understand why low light vision would be useful near the surface where color is much more relevant. But I can't imagine that these folks don't ever go deeper than the color zone. I don't remember the depth where the colors disappear in the ocean, but it doesn't. You don't have to go far to have that happen. I mean, divers regularly encounter a point where like color differentiation is difficult to do. We have +2 natural AC, which is nice. Not a lot of hit points. Their reflexes are bad, but their will is bad, but their fort saves are pretty good. So these people are not going to be resisting a lot of spells when it comes to reflexes and will. They have a speed of 10 on the surface and 60 in the water, which is awesome. They don't seem to have any kind of natural attack, so they just use weapons and ranged attacks like specially constructed crossbows and spears and things. Remember, if you're going to outfit underwater folks, piercing things are the only thing they should be carrying, because you can't swing anything under the water unless you got magic. Unless you're wearing like a freedom of movement ring or something like that, you can't swing an axe underwater. It just doesn't work. Piercing is your friend. So we got 10 strength, 12 dex, 10 con, the very average folks, 13 intelligence, wisdom of 13, and a charisma of 11. So they are brighter and wiser than your average person, which is important to know. They have weapons focus, long spear. That kind of makes sense. Though I think long spear is kind of weird underwater. I don't think you want a long spear. It's kind of cumbersome. They have bonuses to craft, perception, survival, and swim. And again, I find it strange that we have to have people that spend their entire lives underwater have a swim skill, but nobody on the surface has to have a walk skill. Yeah. They have special quantity. They are amphibious, and the only language they speak was Aquan. Why? They have an intelligence of 13, which gives them a +1 bonus. They should have aquatic as their native tongue, but they should also have one more language. I don't understand why stat blocks seem to miss that. Temperate or warm aquatic, so these folks don't live in the cold regions of the world. That makes perfect sense. And they come in solitary bands or tribes, which they get pretty advanced in their breakdown there, so you can go take a look at that. Now, which one are they for treasure? Do they have anything on treasure? I'm not seeing the treasure. There it is. Standard, which is considered long spear, light crossbow, bolts, and some treasure. So they do understand the value of trade goods. Now, These things are often presented as monstrous because they don't look inviting to a lot of people. I personally find them friggin' fascinating because I've always uh, been a lover of the whole anthro art style, and I love animal races, and or the rather animal lineages. Sorry about that. Um, Also, these are cool because these are uh, a matriarchal society, which is also cool. That's a change from a lot of different kinds of people out there, and I just don't think this species gets its fair share. They're not aggressive. They tend to be defensive rather than offensive. Um, and because they're neutral, they're perfect for trading. They can trade with everybody. These are your businessmen of the ocean. This is your entry level right there into the world of the aquatic. These should be your communication point for a campaign that has to have interaction with the aquatic world. Right here. These are the folks can give you the advice you need if you need to go, deal with those tritons over there, or you need to go over there and deal with those shark folks, or if you have the temerity to go deeper and find things that you probably really shouldn't be looking for. They can probably point you in the right direction, though they're probably smart enough with an intelligence of 13 to not join you. Um, I just think these people these guys don't ever seem to get a fair shake. I can remember using them when I was a younger gamer, and they were just a monster stat. I just throw them at people, but they're not monsters. They're neutral. They're people. So treat them like people. They're not going to come murder you in your sleep. They're going to trade with you. They're going to interact with you. You invade their territory, they'll defend themselves. If you attack them, they're going to defend themselves. But if you need to get into the aquatic world, having someone like this as a guide can literally mean the difference between life and death for your party. I just don't think these folks get their fair shake, and that's kind of a pity. I think they've been really underappreciated over the course of the history of D&D and Pathfinder, because I just don't ever remember ever seeing them as the central figures in anything. And really, they're cool. Let's use them. We should be really more appreciative of the fact that you can have an intelligent, neutral species that can help you in so many ways in your games for story-driven stuff that aren't aggressive, that have the skills that your characters don't. Um, it's just cool. So let's use the Locathah. Have you used them? And if you have, what have you done with them? I just used them as monsters for the most part because I wasn't really being as complex as I should be, I guess. And I think these are an underutilized and overlooked species. So let's talk about fishmen.